Hi, this is Patriot Mom 007 and American Perspective, a new show we're getting off the ground tonight. So we just saw Sherry, if you'll watch the last video, disappear. Right now, Pamela Carter is joining us as my second guest ever, so thank you so much.
I'm so excited for you. That is amazing.
Thank you.
Patriot Mom.
Patriot Mom 007. The 007 is about the kids. I'll tell you guys that story later. So let's just get into talking about Pamela. So again, what I'm trying to highlight is not so much what you see on a door knocker or on the Google front page, but the novel part of Pamela.
I am very novel.
And
she's extremely novel.
Beautiful. I mean, she's beautiful. If you think her pictures are retouched, I'm just going to tell you right now, and honest to God, not retouched. She's stunning. Okay, and it's a Monday night. It's Wednesday night. It's Wednesday night. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I got to dress up for the Patriot Mom.
Okay, I'm going to have to dress up for her next time. So let me just tell you a little bit about Pamela. She's running for Scottsdale City Council. So a lot going on in Scottsdale, as we know. She's accomplished, of course. I wouldn't expect anything less. She has a master's degree in business and communications. So I'm going to guess we're going to have a great conversation. She has a family-owned business with real estate in Arizona. They've been around for generations. Her heritage is Latina?
It's half Latina, and I have to include my dad because he's half. It's my mom and my grandma, but on my dad's side, it just I guess we're Heinz 57 on my dad's side.
It all counts. It all counts.
Yeah.
And she is an Arizona native and raised in Scottsdale. Don't hear that every day. I could see your website. I read it actually a couple times. We talked on the phone, but really what I want to ask you first, and I'm going to ask everybody this first. Tell me not what you're going to do for Arizona and Scottsdale City Council, but why you're doing it, and let us know from before you got into it.
Well, as I said, I was born and raised in Arizona. I moved to California, moved back. I was a business owner here, as you so graciously indicated. And I worked I was on staff with President Trump. I was the state director for the whole state of Arizona.
Wow, big job.
Was not the state, but one of the state directors for the faith community. So I always loved, even on my television shows, to weave my biblical knowledge, which I did go to Bible college as well.
Okay.
I love to weave the stories of the Bible into my personal life. So I love Jesus. I love the Lord, and I hope that's okay to say on a political thing.
Still America.
That's right.
I'm going to say yes. It's still okay. If we're in America, we're still allowed to say everything. Whatever they say, that the opposite is not true. We still can say. So thank you for sharing that.
So my faith is who I am. Early in my life, I went through a very difficult time. I was suicidal, actually, as a teenager, and dealt with a lot of that, pain. And I understand teens. Actually, teen suicide is way up. Teen crime is up, even in Scottsdale, Arizona. The sex trafficking is another issue I want to bring up.
Out of control.
Which it is coming into Scottsdale, which a lot of people think it's only, a Phoenix issue.
Far away.
Which is one of the huge issues, really, of our day. And human trafficking. So whatever I can do, what I did on the Trump campaign was I taught Bible studies, I did prayer meetings, I covered the president as well as our whole staff in prayer and in the Word, and I led some of that.
So
I did Women for Trump.
Them together in essence.
I did Women for Trump as well as Pro-Life Voices. So I'm very pro-life, and I'm not ashamed of it. I believe that God gave us the right to be born and to die with dignity. So it's from the womb to the tomb. It's not just, I don't believe in euthanasia. I don't believe in abortion. In fact, I was a teen that found myself pregnant. I might as well just talk about it, get it out there. Might as well.
2022, they can find it eventually. I just say put it out there before they do.
But
beat them to the punch. Let's do that for a change.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
So I'm just grateful that God led me the way He did and protected that situation for me.
Right.
So I was a young mother, and so
Can I ask you what age? Do you mind?
I was 19 when I had my first child.
That's
So,
my son's
yeah,
19 right now.
yeah.
I don't know what I would do.
So 18.
Yeah, that's
It's but I don't even know why I brought that up, other than I'm very pro-life. So I think it's important for people to know that that can happen to anybody at any time.
right.
And why I was suicidal was my parents were getting a divorce, and I was very close to my dad, and he left, so that was a big painful thing in my
Felt
life.
let down and abandoned.
Well, just that I just felt lost. I
Right.
can't even explain what it was. So you want to get to know me. And then when God came into my life, I gave my life to Jesus early 20s. I bought my first home, actually. I was a homeowner when I was 23.
That's
Yeah,
impressive.
so I saved. I was a saver. My mom always taught me to save.
That's
My
good.
grandmother was a single mother of 10 children, and bought her first home with the death of her 19-year-old son, who was killed in the Battle of the Bulge. So we have blood that was shed. My dad was in the Air Force, and they met. So that's kind of my background.
Nice.
Is that we were taught to work. I always worked.
Right.
As a teenager, worked after school.
Yep. We did the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's important to know
Yes.
the work ethic behind, me. Is
Yes.
that I saved
You're a worker.
money,
You have
and with
goals.
that money, I bought my first home. The time I was 23, I was a homeowner. So, and my mother was a single mom as well, and she was a homeowner. So
Great.
these are single moms.
Right.
My point being is that we can, as single moms,
Yes.
or whatever, we can have a goal, and God is there to help us meet those goals.
Right.
Nothing is impossible with God.
So true.
That's why
Faith,
I'm running.
a little faith.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important that people hear that.
And
versus read it.
that is my foundation for everything I do. So throughout my life, after I was early 20s, I gave my life to the Lord, which saved my life because of suicidal thoughts, and I do have a real heart for the teens growing up in the divorced families.
Yes, it's hard.
It's really what it is hopelessness. This is I believe it's a spiritual battle right now for the soul of our children. And if I had that foundation, even though I was raised in the church, I did not have that one-on-one personal relationship with Jesus. And I can remember in church, I would sit there in church. I would actually run away from home. I was like 10, 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go to the church. That's when they used to be open.
Right.
And I sat in church, and this is my story. I said, if there's a God, I want to know him. And I want to know his name. Well, I'm sitting there looking at the cross, Jesus on the cross, but I had no clue what he did for me, that he literally laid his life down. So greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. So when I came into that one-on-one relationship with Christ, it changed my life, saved my life, all in one fell swoop. And I can literally say I saw the light. I was reading this Bible.
It's beautiful, by the way. Show your Bible. It's
I
beautiful.
went home, and someone said, you need to go read the Bible. Well, all one of my girlfriends had read was Psalm 91. She didn't tell me that part. Well, I went home and read the whole Bible.
Oh.
And I went through, all the Gospels, and I had written poetry when I was younger.
Oh.
And it was like, oh my gosh, there's so many scriptures. So it spoke to me because I had personally written a lot of poetry, and some of those very lines, I looked and I saw them in the Bible. And it was like, oh my gosh, God was speaking to me back then.
Well, sometimes themes run through lives.
They do.
And so what you think or feel as a teen or somebody years ago, maybe before you found religion and God, it's in people. And the Word of God, of course, is the first written, according to the Christians and all the religions. And let me just say this. all the religions, I'm in school right now, so I'm learning this, have a God. It really shouldn't matter who the God is. Whatever you believe is okay. So I am not surprised you found the themes running through there. And let me just also say this. I'm appreciative that you're sharing this with us, because they can read that you're a Christian woman. A lot of people hold the Bible. And I don't mean Trump, because I love him.
And I just
and
held
that was
up
a good
the Bible.
moment. And yeah, it's not like that. And I love when he did that at St. John's Church. So I'm
too.
not saying that at all.
Yeah.
Don't take me out of
Right,
context,
right.
anybody. So, but to see it in the campaign, it does not translate. To hear your stories as a young mother, single mother, and then building yourself up to this. So, and I wanted to get this point into Scottsdale City Council. We know is having a lot of problems, and Scottsdale in general, as everybody is. I don't know, it's not Scottsdale, it's all the cities across America.
We have a very, it is, Scottsdale, I was raised in North, Phoenix,
Which was
East
North Phoenix
Valley,
then.
and East Valley and Scottsdale area.
Right.
So the changes I've seen in my city, and I have a video, if you go to
Scary,
my
I'm sure.
if you go to my website, PamelaCarter.com,
Yep.
you will see that I said this is my city,
Yes.
the one I love,
Yes.
because I love this city because it's part of who I am.
It's sort of
This is-
like those fighting across the sea in a
Right.
country.
Right.
They're literally not leaving their town, cities as well, Kiev. It's the same thing. People do not translate somebody fighting for something here in America. Now, patriotism in Ukraine, I mean, who would say it's not patriotic, and who would say anything about that word now? Because they're the most patriotic of anybody we've seen in a long time. So what you're saying, if I could paraphrase, is your patriotism for your state, your city, actually is equally as strong as if you were fighting for, let's say, our country.
And my heart is to, when God, and I'll just bring up the Bible one more time.
You bring it up as much as
When
you
God-
want. It's your
when
time.
God-
There's no
when
limits
God
here. You're good.
called the Israelites to go in and take possession of the promised land, he said, go in one city at a time. He didn't tell them to go in and take the whole thing at once.
Right.
It was so it's kind of a metaphor and a something that is a prototype for our lives, that we need to go in where we live and take on those issues of the day.
Right.
And ultimately, it's a city, a state, and a nation.
Right.
And you change it. Really, you go in at the local level and you change it one city at a time. Yeah, one neighborhood.
Well, really one house at a time.
Exactly.
Because knocking on doors is the way to start the campaign.
Right,
The grassroots is named that for a reason. So it is one family.
Also, I am being raised in Arizona and in this area.
Mm-hmm.
There is high rise. They call it high density, high rise development.
Yeah, we've been noticing
apartments.
Yeah, stuffed in everywhere.
Well,
straight up.
and that is
Yeah.
classic Saul Alinsky.
They're doing it right down the street here on
Socialism.
29th Street
Yes.
and Bell on
Socialism.
32nd Street. It's
They go into
amazing.
a neighborhood, and it's called deconstructionism, where they go in and they plop these so-called affordable housing, which in Scottsdale, the developers making a boatload of money on that.
Right.
So if somebody has participated or was coerced by a developer, I don't know, but it just seems there's a limit on height.
I'm sure
And
there is.
you
That's what I
can't-
thought.
You can't, yes.
But I keep seeing these higher and higher little teeny apartment places going up in between houses.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
Which, how do you get a zoning for multifamily? I'm not a realtor, but I know a lot of
No.
realtors,
Right.
as we all do.
Right.
And Sherry actually has a real estate business. How do you get the permit to go from single family housing next door on the whole block to one multifamily unit on the main street? I don't understand how that
exactly.
happens.
Well, it's
I mean,
passed by the
There's
council.
laws, though, against that, I thought.
Well, they are, but then the developers come in and they
pay somebody off to give
well,
them
I
the
don't
exception?
know.
I mean,
I have no idea.
how do you get past the laws? I mean, I would like to know. I mean, not
Well,
rhetorically, I'm actually asking, like, how do we figure these things out? So you want to be on the council. Is this something, an area that you would be looking into? Is that what I'm understanding?
Totally. I mean, I want to support the legal residents. I want to do something to work with the police for the high crime that is beginning to happen in Scottsdale, which a lot of people don't know. It's everywhere. But I was in a meeting with the chief of police.
We
and
talked
he was,
Chief Waltham.
Yes,
I met him a couple
I
weeks
love
ago
him.
randomly. He's a great chief.
He really is.
Yes.
But he was worried about the crime, the teen crime.
Yes.
The
sure,
violence
that they're seeing must
the
be
violent
atrocious.
Yeah.
So
Well,
how do
in
we
McCormick Ranch as well.
Yeah.
I talked with some homeowners.
you have crime in McCormick Ranch?
Yes.
Wow.
Drugs. There was a drug house next to their property in
crazy.
McCormick Ranch. And they were talking to me, and they said that's why they moved out of McCormick Ranch, because of the drug house. There was a drug house there. So I want to work with the city as a councilwoman,
To actually counsel them. Instead of just have a title on your card.
Well, you can do council.
So we're going to actually do what the job says.
Right.
We're going to actually counsel somebody to do their job.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That
Yes,
sounds good.
right.
Good
right,
plan. Good plan.
Right. So I want to talk with the voters. I want to talk with the citizens and the legal residents.
Right.
We also have the Afghan refugee situation where 300 were brought in and plopped in the middle of our neighborhood, Chaparral High.
For everyone.
Scottsdale is the wealthiest city in Arizona, and one of the
for
wealthiest.
Those who didn't know that, yes,
right,
it is,
and one of the wealthiest in the United States.
It's our Rodeo Drive, really.
Right, and they want to bring in this the deconstructionism of our neighborhoods, of our way of life, and I feel on the council we can hold that back.
So can you give us a little glimpse into maybe one or two aspects of the big plan? We have more time for more interviews later.
Right.
Something that people can go, oh yeah, God, shoot, she's thinking of that. That totally makes sense. I might vote for her then. You know, something tangible.
Right.
What could you share in your umbrella plan?
I would definitely vote no on most of the overdevelopment. There was a proposal of $1.2 billion by the Planning Commission and by the staff, city staff, to put trolleys and build all this development up on McDowell Mountain Preserve.
Okay.
$1.2
trolleys in McDowell
billion dollars, and it wasn't passed. But then what they do is they scale it back. Well, if you took this out and you took that, you tweak this, then our mayor actually said that he would love to market that area. People live in this area because lucky, but it is part of who we are. Also, our old town.
Right.
I want to preserve our old town, Scottsdale, that I remember walking down those streets, and they want to tear down a lot of it, build whatever they want to build. And to me, I would just vote no and no negotiation.
Now, does it have to be a consensus? What's the board? Is it just
then the majority wins.
So,
but I don't care, because you know what? You start saying no, people here.
Right, they have something to hold on to.
Exactly.
With you. Okay. So that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and there
seems
are
like a lot.
some other conservatives
So
running, but
you feel
but I
confident
just know
in your
me.
for sure. That's a fact. I've only known her for like half an hour. Really strong woman for sure. I don't think anybody's gonna push you over or tell you what to do, like me. So it's all good. I'm saying yay for you. I don't have time to be on the Scottsdale City Board, nor do I live in Scottsdale. But if I did, I probably would too, right? I like to make sure things are going as perfectly as possible for my family and my friends.
Well, I want to
sure.
really protect the families and the way of life, our way of life.
Right.